An often forgot about and overlooked part of Apex happens before you even step foot in the arena. Having proper settings on your game is a key part to playing well. Getting better frames and having smoother gameplay can lead to winning more gunfights and becoming a better player. So hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest, 8-Second Gaming, and today I'm going to be talking about the best settings for Apex Legends. This is going to cover every setting in the game. I know console does not have access to some of these things, but I will be addressing both for PC and console. So let's kick things off, shall we? Starting off with the gameplay tab. The first major thing here is the crosshair damage feedback. This is essentially hit markers and you have three options to pick from. You have off, X, and X with shield. You want to have this set to off. With the way Apex has everything set up, you don't need hit markers. You'll know when you're hitting something when the damage numbers pop up. Having hit markers on can cause screen clutter and can sometimes lead to you missing shots, and you'll lose fights because of that. You may not notice this now, but trust me, turn them off and you will see a huge difference. Now moving on, we have the damage numbers. There are four options here and you want to have this set to stacking. Stacking adds the numbers for you so you can have nice precise callouts in fights. You know exactly how much damage you've done to call out to your team. With floating, you won't be able to add that quickly and can cause weaker callouts, ending in lost fights because of it. And having both on causes useless screen clutter when you're just going to be looking at the stacking numbers and not the floating numbers. There's no point. Just run stacking. It's hands down the best option here and there's really no other choice. Next up, we have Minimap Rotation. This is where your minimap spins and rotates as you do to match your orientation. I highly recommend you set these two off so it always has north is up, south is down, and so forth. That way if a teammate calls to head north, you know exactly where that is without having to think about it too much. This causes less confusion in teams for where you need to go and can allow you to win more fights because of that. Next up is AutoCycle. This is where it automatically swaps your weapon when you're out of ammo. I have this set to off. You should know when you're running out of ammo. And if the game swaps for you, it can mess you up, causing you to lose focus and miss shots. Now let's talk about auto sprint. I know some people like this for the quality of life stuff, but there are times where walking is needed. Like if you're ratting and trying to sneak into ring or walk past places without it making too much noise. Examples like that. With auto sprint, it is a lot harder to control your movements and know what you're doing. That's why you should have this off. It's better for you as a player because you'll always know when you're walking and when you're sprinting. Jetpack Control is for Valkyrie players. If you never play her, don't worry about these, but I have this set to hold. I feel like it gives me more control and toggle feels weird. If you play toggle, let me know if you like it or what benefits you see in it. I'd love to hear about it. Now what about damage incoming feedback? Just have this set to 3D. It gives good information on where you're getting shot from and doesn't really affect anything. Next up, taking damage, closes, crafting, or death boxes should be set to off. This one is a little tricky to get used to. It can mess some people up, especially console players. But this really helps with armor swaps and fights, and if you're getting sniped at after you fought, you can have that extra time to grab meds or ammo off bodies. It may get you killed once or twice while you're learning, but you'll get the hang of it and it will be better in the long run. Hop up, pop up is your choice. I personally leave this on because it doesn't bother me. If you want a sleek, less intrusive look, then you'll turn this off. Just remember to know exactly what hop ups go on what guns so you don't spend extra time looking at them. Performance display should always be on. That way you can see your frames and if you happen to be lagging. If you can see that you start to lag, you can decide what fights to take or what not to take for a better chance. It is also a small box that doesn't really block view, so I see no downsides to having it on. Also, for the people that think this causes you to lose frames, that is a myth. It doesn't affect your performance game-wise. Now let's talk about colorblind settings. These modes are something that is 100% personal choice. If some colors are better to you, then run them. I personally never run colorblind because I don't see the point in it. But some players, especially pros, like Tritanopia. And obviously, if you are colorblind, then use the setting that helps you most. And the same thing goes for subtitles. Unless you're hearing impaired, you should never run subtitles. There's no point. Just quickly though, if you guys are enjoying the video so far and are learning lots, please remember to drop a thumbs up for us. It really helps the channel. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be notified when we post new videos. But now, let's move on to MNK and controller settings. I don't want to touch certain things like button layout or keybinds. That's personal choice and you have to find what works for you. Some keybinds that I will touch on though for MNK is toggle crouch and aim. These are under keybinds if you want to change them, and use whatever you're comfortable with. I use hold for both, but I know some players really love toggle. This is just whatever you feel best on. If you guys really want me to go over these in more detail, let me know in the comments down below. If there's enough demand, I'll do a video covering how you want to decide on these binds. But talking about sensitivity, there are two options for M and K, high or low. Both have their ups and downs. High, you can have high mobility with being able to whip around like Fade or Asu, but it makes tracking a little bit harder. And vice versa for low, you can have a lot better tracking, but it's harder to pull off really cool mobility. I personally use a low sense of 800 DPI and 1.9 game sensitivity, with a 0.8 ADS sense. Mine is very different from most people, and my ADS sensitivity is extremely low, but this is what helps me track, and it's what I enjoy. Go into the firing range, play around with certain settings, and don't be afraid to change them around. Find what works for you and stick with that. You can tweak it over time to help you grow as a player. For controller players, you can run 3 main options of high, medium, or low. An example for each is 7-10 for high, 4-6 for medium, and 1-3 for low. My teammate runs 7-6 for his and does pretty well with it. But now let's hop into video settings. This is where you'll get most of your FPS boost from. First up, always play full screen. It's better for performance and makes it so you can't accidentally click off screen somehow. Full screen is always the way to go. There's no other option. Then you have your FOV. The higher you go, the more you see, but the lower frames you'll get because it needs to process more. A lot of people run 110, and it's what I used to run also, but I've swapped to 104 and I actually love it. It gives you a wide view without distorting things like 110 does. I highly recommend trying out 104 for a few days and seeing how you like it. I recommend this to all players. It doesn't matter if you're a low FOV or a high FOV, try 104. For FOV ability scaling, this is where abilities like Octane Stim and Bloodhound Alt up your FOV when used. I recommend you turn these off so that it doesn't mess with your sensitivity when you pop them. Different FOV means new sensitivity. And for Sprint View Shake, have this set to off. Less camera shaking around when you run means you can see better. Pretty simple. Now, VSync should always be off. It does help with screen tears but can lead to input lag, and you never want that. And for NVIDIA Reflex, disabled or enabled, I would recommend having this enabled. Input lag can lead to you shooting late and lose fights because of it. And for adaptive resolution FPS target, have this set to 0 as it might cause spikes. And unless you're running an Uber computer from NASA, all of your settings should be on low. Your game may look bad, but I promise you get used to it after a while. And after a certain amount of time, you don't even notice it. Plus, your game runs better and plays smoother. If you do want your game to look a bit better, then turn your texture streaming budget up. That will make the game look prettier. But that covers every major thing in the Apex settings. For all you PC players, you may have noticed that I didn't cover AutoCycle files, and that's because everyone needs something different in them. The best thing to do is to go on Reddit and see what the majority of people are using for your certain situation. The one thing that I will say though is if you want to, you can put -dev in your AutoCycle. It makes it so you skip the respawn logo screen right at the start and you can just go right to the main menu. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, again, please drop a thumbs up. It really helps the channel a ton. Also, if you made it this far and haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We do daily uploads of highly educational Apex videos and you won't want to miss them. So smash that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified when we post. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming and I'll see you in the next one.